Welcome back to the channel, Cowboys Nation. If you're a die-hard Dallas Cowboys fan, or even just someone keeping a close eye on NFL roster moves, then this is a video you're definitely going to want to watch from beginning to end. Because today, we're diving deep into a major roster development that just dropped like a bombshell out of Frisco. That's right, breaking news out of Cowboys headquarters. The team has officially cut 4 players in order to meet the NFL's mandated roster limit, and leading the group is none other than running back Malik Davis. This move is creating a wave of reactions across Cowboys Nation and the broader NFL community. Not only is it unexpected in certain respects, but it also signals something bigger brewing within the organization as the Cowboys shape their 2025 strategy. Now let's get into the details of what just happened. Every year, NFL teams face the challenging task of trimming down their expanded off-season rosters to fit the league's regular season limit. That means hard decisions must be made, and this year is no exception for the Dallas Cowboys. The front office and coaching staff had to make some tough calls, and today they acted decisively. Among the 4 players let go, Malik Davis is easily the most high-profile name on the list, sparking an emotional response from fans who have watched his development and contributions over the past few seasons. Davis, who came into the Cowboys system as an undrafted free agent out of Florida, was seen by many as a potential rotational piece in the backfield. But it seems the Cowboys have decided to head in a different direction, possibly leaning on a youth movement or feeling more confident in newly added talent. When you think about it, Malik Davis's story with the Cowboys is one of hard work, grit, and occasional flashes of brilliance. He was part of the team during a transitional period in the backfield following the Ezekiel Elliott era and the rise of Tony Pollard. While Davis never locked in a feature role, he always gave the team quality depth and came through in short spurts, particularly in preseason games and as a spot starter when injuries hit the roster. But as the Cowboys continue to reshape their identity, especially after the dramatic offseason that included new coaching staff influences, draft picks, and even speculation about major trades, players like Davis end up being the casualties of progress. It's a painful part of the business. And it's not just Malik Davis. The other 3 players cut alongside him also reflect the kinds of behind-the-scenes evaluations the Cowboys are making right now. Though their names haven't generated as many headlines, each of them came into camp with hopes of earning a permanent spot on the roster. We're talking about guys who put in long hours at the start, grinding through the playbook, showing effort in reps, and fighting for every opportunity. The release of these 4 players is not just about numbers, it's a clear message that the Cowboys are laser-focused on building a roster that aligns with their long-term vision. And with an eye on the playoffs and beyond, they're not leaving anything to chance. Let's take a step back for a moment and think about what this says about the Cowboys' current state of affairs. First, the running back room has been under a magnifying glass since the end of last season. After Tony Pollard signed elsewhere and Ezekiel Elliott officially moved on, it's been a revolving door of speculation about who would lead the ground game in 2025. The Cowboys drafted a new prospect, added a few names in free agency, and tested their depth throughout the offseason. So the decision to let go of Malik Davis now, right before training camp intensity picks up again, suggests that the front office believes they already have the pieces they need. Either that or they're planning one more surprise addition to that room. And knowing how Jerry Jones operates, you can never rule out a big move on the horizon. But what makes this moment even more compelling is the timing. The Cowboys are in a stage where they've made it very clear they are in win-now mode. Head coach Mike McCarthy, who's been under scrutiny since last season's playoff exit, understands that the 2025 campaign is all about results. No more moral victories. No more growing pains. This team wants to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And that means every single roster spot has to count. Every player who survives the final cut has to contribute, either on special teams, as a rotational piece, or as a future starter. There's simply no room left for developmental projects who aren't showing immediate impact. That's the hard truth about what these cuts reveal. And yet, you can't help but feel for a guy like Malik Davis. He wasn't a locker room problem. He wasn't a player dogging it on the practice field. He did what he was supposed to do. But the numbers game in the NFL is brutal, and sometimes being pretty good just isn't enough. The Cowboys likely evaluated him and decided his ceiling was already reached, or that his skill set was redundant with other players now on the roster. Maybe it's a matter of scheme fit. Maybe it's about his special teams contribution. Or maybe it's just about giving younger players like Deuce Vaughn, or even undrafted rookies, a bigger opportunity to shine. Either way, Davis now enters the waiver process and will hope to catch on with another team that sees his potential. The reality is that the NFL offseason is a constant game of chess. The Cowboys aren't making these decisions randomly. These cuts, including Malik Davis, are part of a calculated effort to streamline the team and get it ready for one of the most pivotal seasons in recent memory. With questions still looming around Dak Prescott's contract, the defense built around Micah Parsons entering its prime, and a coaching staff that knows the clock is ticking, there's no patience for maybe. It's either you're part of the solution or you're on the outside looking in. There's also a business aspect to this. Cutting players like Davis opens up cap flexibility, even if it's marginal. It signals that the Cowboys are still preparing to make tweaks, possibly via trade or veteran signings. Don't forget, we're still in the window where post-draft roster retooling is very much a thing. Front offices across the league are comparing notes, watching who gets released, and preparing for one more wave of adjustments. The Cowboys aren't just cutting players, they're positioning themselves to act when the right opportunity presents itself. Whether that means a late free agent addition, a training camp trade, or elevating a practice squad player, these moves are all about staying nimble. Cowboys fans have mixed emotions today, and that's understandable. On one hand, there's excitement to see the final roster starting to take shape. On the other, there's disappointment when a fan favorite or hardworking player like Malik Davis gets the axe. That emotional connection is what makes football so passionate. You root for these guys. You want them to succeed. But the reality of roster limits means not everyone gets to live the dream in Dallas. And these final cuts always come with a sense of loss, even if it's part of a greater plan. So what happens next? Well, the Cowboys will continue fine-tuning their roster leading into training camp. The cuts today are likely not the last ones we'll see before the season kicks off. Other players still find themselves on the bubble, especially in crowded position groups like cornerback, wide receiver, and linebacker. Injuries could change the calculus. So could player performance. If someone flashes unexpectedly during training camp or preseason games, that could force the Cowboys to reevaluate everything. The front office will be watching closely, looking for any sign that they've made the right or wrong call. There's also the matter of Malik Davis's future. Don't be surprised if he gets picked up quickly by another team. Several franchises around the league are still dealing with uncertainty in their running back rooms, and Davis has shown enough on tape to warrant interest. He runs hard, has decent vision, and plays with effort. He may not be a star, but in a league where injuries pile up and depth is critical, he could be a solid number 2 or number 3 back for a team looking for insurance. It would not be shocking to see him land on a 53-man roster elsewhere in short order. And hey, if the Cowboys suffer an injury or need him down the road, there's always a chance he could return. For now, though, the message is clear: the Dallas Cowboys are cutting down to get serious. Every roster spot matters. Every practice rep counts. This team has high expectations, both internally and from a national perspective. And they're not going to let sentimentality or potential cloud their vision. They want production. They want winners. And they want guys who are ready to help deliver a deep playoff run. That's the mentality you need if you're trying to win it all in today's NFL. And judging by these cuts, That's exactly the path the Cowboys are trying to take. In conclusion, while the release of Malik Davis and 3 other players may seem like just another transaction on paper, it's far more than that. It's a moment that encapsulates the intensity, the ruthlessness, and the forward-thinking nature of NFL roster building. The Cowboys have made a statement they're not here to play around. They're here to compete, and only the strongest are sticking around. Whether these moves will pay off remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, the battle for the 53-man roster in Dallas is officially underway, and things are only going to get more intense from here. So strap in, Cowboys fans, the ride is just getting started. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more breaking updates, roster news, and everything Dallas Cowboys. We'll keep you informed every step of the way as the team shapes up for what promises to be a defining 2025 season. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.